Well, hello, awesomes. How are we doing today? I am coming to you today. It's Wednesday, about midweek. I've just posted the discussion board posting for this week, and I thought it might be kind of apropos since we're also doing usability testing and things like that with our WikiHow pages. Then we might get an opportunity to look at what some of your fellow classmates are doing. So, make a long story short, this week's discussion post is about your pages. So it's kind of a peer review in a way. So as you'll notice when you click on the week 6 discussion post, you'll see that I'm basically asking you by Friday, post your link to your WikiHow page, and then by Sunday, as per the usual, I would like you to visit a few of your fellow classmates' pages and respond to some very specific questions that I'm asking you about. So I'm going to minimize myself here. So we're here on our page. Of course, I've told you that the discussion post is available. So if we go into, I'm just going to use the CRN. Make sure you go into your own particular CRN class. If we go into the week 6 discussion post, so a very simple set of instructions. By Friday, post your link to your WikiHow article by Friday, and then by Sunday, look at a few and provide some peer review, right? Some feedback. And here are several questions that I'd like you to think about. And so I say in here, in your feedback, please consider and address a few of the following in your reply. So while it would be impossible perhaps to hit all of them, maybe think of a couple of them or whatever that might stand out, particularly in the one that you're looking at. And so a lot of these are talking about how, and a lot of the comment and some of the feedback that I've given you over the last several days does have to do with participating in the WikiHow genre in that particular form and the way that they have things set up. And so we want to think about that as we look at them this week. So, so does the WikiHow instruction show an understanding of the writing, editing, and formatting requirements of the community, right? So let's think about that for a second. So if we were thinking about answering that question or whatever, we might think about the specific areas and locations on WikiHow. So I'm just going to look at the schedule here. I'm going to go down to when we kind of started writing these things. I want to point out a couple of key pages in the WikiHow article that I asked you to read for this week. One is the Writer's Guide. The Writer's Guide provides a lot of excellent information, and I reference that a lot in my feedback to you. Especially when it comes down, we're talking about the introduction, right? Make sure you don't use first person, things of that nature in writing for WikiHow. Avoidances, here we are. Follow these steps. Here are 3 methods, things of that nature. And then in your steps, another thing it says, begin with a verb. Begin each step. Let the first sentence of the step summarize the entire action, okay? So this is something you want to think about. And notice on these, even when you look at the steps here, step 1, then you have the bolded, that's the actual step, followed by a sentence, and this one down here, a sentence or 2, right? Then you have the bullet points. And this is that quintessential genre feature of the WikiHow article. And so these are the things that we're kind of thinking about and talking about in writing for this particular place. The genre of the WikiHow article is having a bold, or in this case here, this would then be point 2, avoid using personal references on this page. And then your standard step 4, the bold, couple of sentences, and then bullet points that further explain that particular step. Okay? So those are the kind of things we want to think about if you need to go back and edit an article. There's a good link on our page. So let's go to the projects page. And let's look at the project for WikiHow. Some of you I know always struggle with putting these things together, and that's kind of part of the assignment too, right? Is that as technical writers, one of the things we have to do is negotiate the things that we think we want to put on there, and then also the things that blend or mesh well with this particular genre, and that is what is part of the challenge. And then also working within the constraints, right, within the way that the formatting is set up on Wiki, right? So here's a little bit more on how to put a photo. Here's how to format is another very good article. Most of you hopefully have already looked at this, how to make the article as in use. Make sure that you do that. All right, those are very, very good key pages to consider and to think about in our revisions, especially this week. All right, real quickly, let's talk about the user test memo. I've had a couple of different interactions with several of you concerning the user test memo, and so I've gotten a few questions, so I'm just going to kind of give a brief overview, if you will. So basically what you want to do, try to conduct a test of 2 to 3 users. All right, ideal situation, if you can do it in this particular way, a novice, an intermediate, and expert, that's great. And then it says that as part of this, you need to have a user test where you analyze 3 user test memo, and then you have an appendix, 1 page per user, or some raw test data, or a data collection instrument. Okay, so let's break those down real quick. I'll put myself back up here in the middle. All right, so how this works is you'll have your memo, right? Your memo will be a page to 2 pages. And then following that, you'll have your data collection instrument, perhaps your questionnaire. What are the questions you asked the people who took your survey, who went through your instructions, right? You might think of things like, what did you struggle with? What steps that gave you pause? Were there measurement issues? You weren't sure how much to do this, or how many of that, or whatever. And that's, now you're collecting data. And so you're going to put those answers and collect that data and information and type it up on a sheet, and those will be the sheets that will be following your user test memo. It is the, that is that, all right, let me minimize myself again here. This is it here, right? Analyze 1 page per user, raw test data, right? So that is that their responses or replies to the things that you asked them, the things that you were concerned about, and your data collection instrument, okay? So it's, I'll say it's fairly straightforward. There's a lot of moving parts there, but I'll break it down. You will submit to me in 1 file. You will have your first 2 pages or so will be your memo, followed by your data collection instrument. What are the questions that you ask? And then followed by the answers on whatever data collection, data material that you got from your user in the user test memo. Okay? All right, so that's it in a nutshell. So that's our discussion post for this week. We'll do some feedback over the weekend, and then you will obviously at that same time be working on your user tests memos. Those are due Sunday. Okay? All right, guys. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. Hope you all have a wonderful week. As always, if there is anything more that I can do for you, please do not hesitate to let me know. We will go from there. I'll be back in touch with you as we go through the rest of the week. And work into next week as we put the final touch revisions on our WikiHow projects. All right, bye for now. Thanks for watching.